Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing another set review, this time for Zengi's Alkabah The Rise of Soil. I'm familiar with this set. I played a little bit with it in field testing. It's got a few very interesting mechanics. It's got really good flavor. This is a prequel set to Alkabah, which I believe is already in MSEM, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this is Zengi's set. Zengi is a very well known designer. This team also has a flavor team, which is a lot of fun, very interesting. So yeah, just zooming over this introduction. I'd go read it if you have the time. We don't really have the time in this video, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some time to talk about the new mechanics. Amass soldiers, we all know what that does. It's amass. It's we all know. Lionize, this one's interesting. This is like a mix between backup and adventure. So you pay a cost, put a counter on a creature, it gains that creature's abilities, and then you can cast the creature later, just from exile. And then Surpass is a transform activated ability that just costs one less for each counter on it. Yeah, and then we have Encounters, which are a new type of battle. We'll get there when we get to the first encounter. And then the other one is Transcend, which is an existing MSEM mechanic. Also looking at the cards, Flashback seems to be a featured mechanic as well as Starpies. So we'll get into those. A very interesting set. This one is definitely more polished. It seems more polished, at least from this presentation. It seems a little more polished than previous sets. Looks very professional. We got our cool little font, cool little thing. All right, we're gonna go look at cards, and we're going to start with the comments. All right, Assault on Soil, creatures you control. Okay, this is fine. It's just a trumpet blast for white, basically. Enchant non-army creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block when enters a mess. Okay. Interesting. So it's a pacifism that amasses one. So in Constructed, a lot of times this is going to be a pacifism that makes a 1/1. Doubt this is good. It's just, pretty normal. 5 mana, 3/3 lifelink. When it enters, return target permanent with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I could see this being something with like a pod combo, but beyond that, it will not be the problem in any decks that it's playable in, I don't think. Blessing of Respite. Exile target creature you control and return to the battlefield under your control. Oh, it being a sorcery is sad. I would have loved this if it wasn't an instant, but there is a version of this that already exists in canon that's blue and white. But, I mean, this is fine. I don't think it's going to see any play just because it's a sorcery. And you really want some, ephemerate effects to be instant. Cast Judgment. 3 damage to target attacking creature, exile target artifact or enchantment. So, this is a 3 mana versatile disenchant that can also hit creatures sometimes. Limited Juggernaut, but I don't think it's quite there. In defense of it is not Rise of Soil, it's Rise of Soli. God, I'm dyslexic. Anyways, short target creature with power 4 or greater, Starpy cycling. Now, no, Satrapy cycling, my bad. Satrapies are interesting. I will get into Satrapies later. But yeah, Satrapies are just a type of land, basically. And it destroys with power 4 or greater. I mean, if Satrapies are a thing, this might be a thing. But also, land cycling for 2 seems kind of bad for a sorcery speed removal spell. So, probably not anything. Inspirational Beacon. When it enters, you gain 3 life, flying 2/2. Sure. Knes Scribe. When it enters, amass soldiers 2. So, that's fine. When it attacks, you may tap target creature. That's interesting. Just a common. Seems reasonable. Lowly cap with this guy. When at vigilance for 3 mana vigilance 2/2. Whenever it attacks and at least 2 other creatures attack, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay, and then it makes the surpass cost cheaper, and whenever Keeper of the Bloodline and at least 2 other creatures attack, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. The important thing to know about surpass is that obviously the counters stay on it when you transform it. So this thing is going to, yeah. I don't know how I feel about this. Yeah, it's certainly weird. I don't think it's going to do anything in Constructed, though, obviously. Lifelink. This is a Nephilim Soldier for 2/2, and you can pay 3 to get +3/+3 until end of turn. Activate only once each turn, and only if you control another Angel or Nephilim. Okay, Angel and Nephilim Tribal. Interesting. Prepare for Rest. You gain 3 life and make a 1/1. Pretty solid. And obviously it's a mass soldiers. It's not quite the same, but a lot of the times a mass is going to be in Constructed. Just make a chump blocker once, or make a guy to kill. Sentinel of Avaz. Lionize. Okay, so you can give something flying for 2 mana and then play a 3/3 flyer for later. Solid, super fucking solid card in Limited, but I don't think this is going to see anything in Constructed. Show of Unwavering Honor, Enchant Creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, if you control an Angel or Nephilim, put a +1/+1 counter on attacking creature you control with lesser power. Okay, this is fine. Not going to do anything in Constructed again. Who would have guessed? A 3/1 that can't be blocked by armies. Okay. Vanguard of Glory. As long as it's your turn, Vanguard of Glory has first strike. So just a good 3 mana 3/3. Zealot of Mahara. Whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Zealot of Mahara. And then you can transform it into a big flying guy. Whenever Judge of Mahara or another creature you control leaves the battlefield, you gain 2 life. Okay, this one's actually interesting. This could be something. If you are like a Flicker deck or a deck that is like sacrificing a ton of creatures, there is a world where you would want this card. This card could be something, but yeah, pretty solid common if you have like a Flicker or an Aristocrat style deck, and then you just pay 1 mana, give this thing flying, and then smash face. Acquiesce position. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, amass. That's so fine. It works well in Limited. It's not going to see Constructed play. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And up to 1 target creature can't block it this turn. Just limited card, really, but it's fine. Benevolent Host. Hello, Nephilim. I'm noticing something. A lot of these things turn into Nephilims or angels. Transform into them. Just kidding. One of them turns into an Azra. Trend demolished. Benevolent Host. Whenever Benevolent Host attacks, if you control another angel or Nephilim, Benevolent Host gains flying until end of turn. Surveil 1. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, it's fine. I don't really think it's anything in Constructed. It's very cool and Limited, though. Brightwing Sphinx. Especially with, like, flashback in this set. Brightwing Sphinx. Flying when you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, Brightwing Sphinx gains vigilance until end of turn. Yup. Pretty normal Limited card. Dewdrop Ordainer. 2/2 flying. When it dies, put a counter on target creature you control with a counter on it. Yup. I mean, yeah, that is what it does. Implacable Jinn. So you can give... Okay, noticeably, Lionize is instant speed. So you can use this as a protection spell, then a big ass guy. I mean, this is like a a really, really good limited card, but I don't think you see constructed play for this. But that's interesting. I thought you were only doing it at sorcery speed, but it being instant speed makes it a lot better. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, surveil 1. Very interesting. Oh, I don't know if the. I mean, unless I don't. I don't think this will ever be anything, but it does. Yeah, it's probably not ever going to be anything, but it is theoretically payable because it's cheap and it puts shit in your graveyard if you're doing a specific type of thing. I doubt it would be good in any deck that exists now, but theoretically a deck could exist where, I don't know, they want something like this. But most of the time, you're just playing something that mills you them, like a bunch of cards for the same price. Regretful Chronicler. Whenever Regretful Chronicle is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then you can surpass it, and it becomes, okay. This is a wall that gets big, which is interesting. It's not really a wall, but you know what I mean. It's like high toughness body turn into swingy boy. Very interesting limited card. Okay, Reject Wickedness. It's a cancel on a Starpy cycling. So, Satrapy cycling. My bad. I played with this a little bit in... sorry if you can hear my dog. He is barking. I played a little bit of this with... Good lord. I played with this a little bit in Field Test. Satrapies are interesting in that if you make your whole mana base Satrapies, it's going to be a weird 5-color mana base that you can go like real pimp intensive. So the blue mana cost here for a color intensive deck is not that difficult to get with Satrapies. But yeah, this card is not the most unfair card with Satrapy cycling, but it definitely is like this card is much better than like the cancel with cycling normal on it, because Satrapies are good. So you get either a relevant land or a cancel, and Reject Wickedness is a thing that is pretty good. Scope the Cosmos. Instant speed, draw 2, or flashback, discard a card. And you're still going up 2 when you can't do the flashback. But you're just getting a divination in the graveyard, essentially. And, not in the graveyard. It's complicated. Because it's kind of like a divination, because you go down 1 card in hand and up 2 cards. So, yeah. Sinking Pessimism. Enchant non-army. When it enters, tap enchanted creature. When enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller. Why do so many of the removals not hit armies? That seems odd. Enchanted creature has 4. Untap this creature. If it does untap this way, put a stun counter on it. Wow. Interesting. I don't know. This could just be a claustrophobia. I don't know why you're putting so much thought into this. Skyborn Strategist. Flying 1/1. When it enters, make a 1/1. I mean, maybe in an Aristocrats deck. Probably not. Tap target creature, put a stun counter on it. Flashback. Yeah, this is fine. I don't think it's going to see any play, but it's cool. Tiller of a Paltry Lie. Whenever you cast your first non-creature spell each turn, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. 3/5. Okay. Yeah, I mean, 5 mana doesn't really do a lot for constructed, at the very least. Truthseeker Prodigy. When it enters a max soldiers 2, then target player mills X cards, where X is the West Army's power. I doubt there's going to be an army big enough where this is going to kill someone. But it is a cool thought. Well, it is target players. You can target yourself if you have like a lot of good flashback stuff in your deck, but that's limited. Okay, Wave Shield. Counter target spell unless the controller plays 2. If there are 3 or more counters on permanents you control, counter that spell instead. Okay, so the quest for the better Quelch. We've been having a lot of relevant 2-mana counter spells. This will go in very, very specific decks, but will technically be playable. Wisdom of the Dune Scene. Choose any number of permanents and or players and give them another counter. So proliferate. Yeah, proliferate, then flashback, proliferate. I mean, yeah, I don't think this is gonna be constructed playable yet again, but it's interesting for sure. Maybe it having flashback gives it some use in some weird dredge deck. Um, all right. End Zier's Pact. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's an Azra or demon. You gain 3 life. Okay, fine. 5-mana reanimate. Oh no! Astral Assassination. This card used to be problematic because it used to be instant, but now that it's sorcery, it's so fine. Being target player is better, obviously, than like an Exunt. But this is, I think now that this is sorcery, this is like, it'll be good. It's not great, but it's okay. Like, it is certainly an option if you're playing like a really, like, if you really need to extract like value from your graveyard, this could see play in like some weird control decks. But I don't know. I think that it used to be an instant and it used to be very toxic because you could just wait and then decide if you want to use this or like a proper removal spell. Castaway's Remorse. Destroy target creature with power 3 or less. Mill 3 cards. This is fine. Yeah, I think this could see play. I mean, it being a sorcery makes it bad. I think doesn't this card already exist? Whatever, it doesn't matter to me. Demon of Endless Hunger. I was super high on this card in field test, and it has not changed. I think that it is a solid body with 2 very solid modes in the right deck. And I think that, you know, just 2 mana, 2/1 flyer is a good base, and then sometimes you hose your opponent or, you know, contribute to something in your graveyard. It's not as crazy as I thought it was, but I was just using it really well in field test, and it has the potential to be used really well in field test. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Target creature card, my bad. And it has Satrapy cycling. Fine, it's fine. We'll get into Satrapies when we get to Satrapies, but yeah. Enigmatic Herald. When Enigmatic Herald dies, amass soldiers 2. Now, I need to say that Satrapies already are a type that exists in original Alkabah. Alkabah. Sorry. My dyslexic ass cannot speak words. Enigmatic Herald. When it dies, you amass... Okay, whatever. We're fine. Lion Eyes, Lifelink. Okay, that's cool. Ever Wandering Pilgrim, you can sack a creature, put a counter on it. Okay. Yeah, this won't be anything in Constructed. But it's cool. What the hell? Why? What did I do? Sorry. My computer betrayed me. Oh, by the way, if all of you are seeing my fucking... my bookmarks... these are from, like, when I was in 4th grade. They're real old. Okay, where the fuck was I? Here we are. Fatal Strike. This is spell cost 1 less to cast. If you've cast a spell from anywhere, probably not going to see any play, but theoretically, it's a 2-mana murder if you fill the hyper-specific condition. Well, no, it's not hyper-specific, but I don't think it'll see any play. Theoretically, it could. Probably not. Fiendish Bruiser Menace. When it enters, exile up to 3 cards from target player's graveyard. Wow. That is for sure a limited card. Kanech Siege. Make a 1/1 and make a player discard a card. My goodness. Mono black control, maybe? I don't know. I don't know how to analyze this card. It's low enough cost that it could be something, but also, would you rather just pay up? The answer is probably. Unless you are making a deck that is like really, really, really into discarding a lot of cards, like an 8-rack deck or something. And even then, you have better options than this. Probably not great. But it's interesting to get a 1/1 and discard, make an opponent discard a card. It's very cool. Manipulations of the Div. When a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay. And you can sacrifice it, deals 4 damage to target player or battle, and you gain 4 life. Theoretically, I mean, this is really good as a common, but also, like, yeah, could see play, but it is 3 mana, so I doubt it. Being able to give something Death Touch and instant speed is fun, but also just kind of a limited card right now, probably. Prepare for Assault, make it 2/2, draw 2, lose 2. Sorcery speed, it's fine. Redefine nothing. Target player discards 2. Okay, this card was previewed in the little thing before. Could be really good in, like, mono black control. Or the, not even like the villainy, but like the 8-rack deck. You just play like hand control, and then randomly you can have a 5 mana Mind Rot from the grave if you need it later. I doubt you will be paying 5 mana. You'll hit 1 card maybe with this flashback cost in, like, yeah. But this is a lot of value for, 1 card. Because if you end up paying the total of 8 mana, you're getting it's a 2 for 1 and then 2 more. So you're getting a 4 for 1 if you pay 8 mana. Because you're going down 1 card and then you eventually flash this back and your opponent's going down 4. Very, very cool card. Potentially very unfun, but also sometimes unfun decks are fun to play. So sometimes unfun cards are fine. Fun for me cards. That's what I'm going to call them. Ruthless Advisor. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, counter on it. Okay, whatever. This is a 4 mana card. It's not going to see play. Self-Serving Ghoul. Menace. When Self-Serving Ghoul enters, remove 2 counters from target permanent. That's interesting. It's like Vampire Nighthawk, but not. Wow, Nathan, incredible analysis. This could kill some relevant planeswalkers. Yeah, this could kill some relevant planeswalkers. This can also, like, remove stun counters from your stuff. This has the potential to do shit, but you can remove counters from. Oh my god, you can use this to remove counters from foe, and then pop off. Anyways. And a Azir Veteran. When it enters, amass soldiers. Okay. Lionize, Trample. This creature gets +3/+0 as long as it's attacking. Okay. Make it big ass and give it Trample, but it's also like a 6 mana card. Probably not going to see a lot of play. Conjure Quicksand. Deals 1 damage to each creature and planeswalker you don't control in each battle you don't protect. Okay. Blazing Volley. Just got a battle upgrade. Very cool. Evening Serenade. It is sorcery speed though. I think Blazing Volley is also sorcery speed, but whatever. Exile the top card of your library you may play it until end of turn. You can flashback it. Oh, that's fun. It's like a red cantrip. It's kind of below rate, but if you want like a spell slingy deck, maybe it's something. Eyes of... You've made a lot of 2/1 flyers for 2, but this is fine because it has a relevant creature type. So this is cool. Figments of Warrior's Lost. Create a token that's a copy of target creature, except it's the same in addition to its other type. It has haste at the beginning of your end step. You sacrifice this permanent. Each creature with the same name as that creature gains trample until end of turn. That's interesting. You may just make a copy of a guy for a second, and then hit face with it. Nothing crazy. Cool to flicker like EDBs. Frantic. I will say, so far, flavor's been relatively on point. You have, like, big sand and dune, no trees, only sand and dune and sand. And that feels pretty good. Pretty consistent throughout. But yeah. Fanatic Afreet Speaker. When it enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Exile. Create a treasure token. It's a 1 mana thing that does an ETB, so it could be good in some decks, but yeah, I kind of doubt it. but it'll certainly be a consideration for some weird decks that want to, like, discard cards, I guess. I don't know. I think I'm grasping at straws. Hesitant Vanguard. Whenever you cast a spell that's white-blue... Okay. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. 3 mana surpass thing. Probably not going to see play. Ignite the Inner Flame. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. If it's attacking a battle, it gains double strike until end of turn. Oh. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be anything. I mean, it's a good combat trick for limited, but, you know. Incendiary Flow. You'll 3 damage to any target. If a creature... I think this is already a card. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. Yeah, whatever. We have Fiery Erasure. Piercing Arrow. This spell can't be countered. It deals 4 damage to any target. 4 mana. I don't think it'll see play, but maybe that can be countered. Don't we? I feel like we already have one that goes face that can't be countered, but maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. Refitting for battle. Destroy up to 1 target artifact. Amass soldiers 2. So a shatter plus a 2/2. That's fine. Regroup and stockpile. Make soldiers and then flash it back. Sure. Shipment Overseer. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Shipment Overseer. Again, that could be something. This is... Yeah, this could be something because you can do this with, like, treasures or lands, fetch lands. This is not... Like, fetch land check this. They probably did, but it seems cool. And then whenever you sacrifice a permanent, it does 1 damage to each opponent and each battle they protect. Yeah, Shipment Overseer is potentially strong because it's fetch lands, but you know. Tomb Raider Duo. When it enters, create a treasure token. Satrapy Cycling. Probably one of the weaker Satrapy Cycling cards we've seen, at least for, at the very least for Constructed. Truth Bearing Parry. Flying. When it enters, or when you cast your first non-creature spell each turn, make a treasure token. That's pretty cool. Not going to be relevant in any constructed formats, but it's cool. When it enters, you may attach it to target creature you control. If you do, target creature can't block this turn. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is constructed. It's fine. Azav Sentry, Reach, put a counter on it, Surpass. This is bad for Constructed. This is probably chill for Limited, though. Cherish the Past, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, you gain 3 life. Otherwise, Surveil 2. Instant with Flashback. It's fine. It's low. It's cheap enough that maybe it sees play somewhere, but it's like... Yeah, actually, I feel like there's some, like, weird, aggressive burn decks where you want to play this. Even, like, against Scam, this feels pretty reasonable. Especially because you just get to do it again from your graveyard. Especially if you want the Surveil 2. This could be something. Commander's Guidance. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. When enchanted creature dies, amass soldiers 2. Wow. That's so fine. Crush Opposition, amass soldiers. When you do, target creature you control fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Okay. So cool. Limited cards. Cultivator of Crops. When it enters, you may search your library for a basic land or satrapy card. Feel it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. I mean, maybe it's something with satrapies. It depends on how good satrapies are, I guess. Day in the market, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them, put them into your hand. The rest on the bottom of your library in any order, or destroy target creature with flying. Oh. I mean, this is kind of goated as a sideboard card, actually. I mean, yeah. Div of Lethargic Ideals. It's got a cheap lion eyes into a kind of weird to a normal-ish body. It's fine. It's a limited banger, but it's, like, fine. Erode. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Put 3 defense counters on target battle. Okay. Expose Wickedness. This spell costs 2 less to cast if you control an Azra or Demon. Target creature you control gets +4/+4 and gains trample until end of turn. I mean, okay. I mean, if there's a relevant Azure or Demon in like a prowess deck, maybe this is something, or like a, you know, double strike style deck, but I don't know. We'll see. Fell Lantern Bearer enters. Choose one. Removing defense counter. Excuse me. For each battle you control, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. It's limited cards. You know the drill. Sorry for the noise outside. Ironclad Sentry. When it enters, you may return target permanent card not named Ironclad Sentry to your hand. Okay. Patrol. When it dies, you may search your library for a basic Satrapy. Lionize. This creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. That's fun. I don't think it will see any play unless you're like... Unless randomly there's like a 0/20 card that is like really good or something. I doubt it though. Nimble Pathfinder. Whenever land enters, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Nimble Pathfinder, and then it goes into a big guy. This is maybe something because green can kind of afford to play a 3-drop, but it is competing with a lot. So I don't know. I don't think this will be anything, but theoretically maybe it could be. Who knows? Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And then you make a 1/1. Okay, that's you know, fine. Sahas. Shaw's. It's Shaw's. Shaw's Proclamation. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. Satrapy Cycling. They put a fog on my Satrapy Cycling? What the fuck is that shit? Unstoppable Zealot. When it deals damage to a player or non-creature or permanent... Okay, so battles. You may put a land card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. Or I guess battles and planeswalkers. Fine. For constructed, I guess. Augur of Pathways. It's a 1/1 flying vigilance. When it enters, surveil 1. This card's kind of goated. Honestly, kind of cool. Maybe you'll see plays where things want to surveil or have like a little flying dork. Battlefield Tiger. I actually played this card. 3 mana, 3 1/1s is good, believe it or not. Especially if you can flicker it. If you can flicker this guy, I mean, you're chilling. This card is good. Bazaar Baragart. When it enters, make a treasure. So kind of a 1 mana 2/1, but only on turn 2. But you can also go 2-drop, play this, have a treasure, 4-drop next turn. I don't think this will be broken or anything, but it's fine. Cunning Plan, target creature gets +1/+0 and can be blocked this turn. Alright, solid. Marshal of Brethren. When Marshal of Brethren enters, amass soldiers 1. Sure. Offering to the div. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a permanent, draw 2. I mean, we have better versions of that already. Open Mod Demon. Whenever a demon or another Azra or demon you control enters, you may exile target card from a graveyard. Whatever. Big fuck off demon is cool, I guess. Roshage Pledge. Roshage Pledge enters, you may return target instant or sorcery card from... Okay, sure. Toil Beyond Death. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. 4 mana. It's fine. Venerable Skyblade. When it... A Venerable Skyblade can attack unless defending player controls a creature with flying. When it enters, you may put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. This card feels kind of... I mean, it's a decent blocker, I guess. Attendant of Graves. It is a 6 mana 5/5 that can add mana in Satrapy Cycle. Probably great and limited. Probably doo-doo buns here. Banner of Warfare. When it enters, amass 1 and you can fix. Okay, that's fine. Wayfinder's Bauble. Equip creature gets 1/1. When a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player or permanent, create a treasure token. Sure. Alright, Satrapies. We have the dual land Satrapies. We also have Burgeoning Satrapy, which is a Satrapy with Satrapy Cycling, which is a choice. personally. Um, I don't I don't think these are anything crazy. It just gives, if you have only satrapies, suddenly you play this. Hold on, let me find it. Suddenly, if you have nothing but satrapies, you play this, and then casting heraldry and villainy becomes no problem. And actually, I'll get into satrapies now. I think they're at rare. Rare land. Uncommon land. Yeah, so we have these fortresses, which can enter untapped if you pay a life, and then give your satrapies a color of anything. So, I mean, I just worry about getting these two together, and then suddenly your mana base is perfect, or having 5 of these, and just being like, well, it's turn 5, I can play 3 pipped cards in every color, and just decide what satrapies that I want to get based on the cards in my hand as they become relevant, and eventually I get 5. Playing against satrapies lands, it's not like you're playing a lot of multicolor cards. The way that you would make a satrapy mana base is you make a very, very pip intensive, like, multicolored deck that wants to give all of your lands like a shared ability. So you're like 3 or 4 colors, but also playing things like heraldry and villainy and just a bunch of different very, very pip intensive cards that wouldn't otherwise be able to be played in a, multicolored deck. And some people, that's appealing. I really don't like it. I think that 2-color villainy is already pushing it. And I think villainy is best in a mono black deck. It rewards you for playing mono black. And I feel like satrapies sort of let you get away with cards that should reward you for playing monocolored decks, but instead just let you kind of do whatever the fuck you want. And I know they're not like, there's obviously going to be decks where dual lands are just going to be better, or fetch lands are obviously going to be better, but I think that there's enough decks that would have a satrapy mana base, and I think we already have some satrapy support in the format, and I just worry about giving it more. I don't think all your lands should come from 2 sets. I think that, I know that's funny because it's like we just play a bunch of fetch lands, but we also play like Wayfarer Shrine and stuff like that. And I kind of like where I am nervous about inserting these into the format, personally. But if you like that, obviously vote for it. They're interesting. I think that they make an interesting standard, but I really don't like them being good in Eternal formats. I think that being able to have like that sort of play experience where you get to play all of these cards that should be in monocolored decks, just in like your 3 or 4 color deck, is not what I like. And I did see it in field test and sort of felt that way, at least the first time I played against it. But yeah, it certainly is. It's certainly odd. It's certainly a preference thing. I also tend to err on the side of caution. So if you think I'm just being a fucking whiny baby and making something up that's not there, then it is what it is. All right, we're gonna get into the uncommons now. We have a 3 mana 2/3 flying. Put a counter on it until end of turn. It becomes an angel in addition to its other types and gains flying and vigilance. Okay, I don't think it'll see any play. Avaz Rising. It's an encounter, which means whenever I send something to protect it and then others can attack it, when defense counters are removed, create a 0/0 army token. If you don't control one, then put that many counters on an army you control. So when I hit this, I remove 3 counters. I'll put 3 counters on an army. So it's certainly weird because the power scaling changes based on how many defense counters are on it. So when it enters, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature becomes an army in addition to its other types. Right. That's certainly weird. I mean, it's fine. It's a battle. Blessing from Wings on High. When from Wings on High enters, you may search your library for an Angel or Nephilim card. Reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. Creatures you control get +1/+0. Okay, that's cool. This could be something if you really want like a specific angel or Nephilim, but probably not. Confined to the Oasis. When Confined to the Oasis enters, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until Confined to the Oasis leaves the battlefield. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, put a searching counter on Confined to the Oasis for each of that card's colors. Then, if there are 10 or more searching counters on Confined to the Oasis, sacrifice it and you gain 3 life. Okay. Yeah. This is fine. I barely even processed what that did. Exile target non-land permanent opponent controls. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, put a searching counter on it. Oh. So this is a... Okay, this is a 2-mana O-Ring that if you cast a shit ton of spells, you'll get your thing back. But only if your opponent is playing multicolor. I kind of hate this. Why is this hosing specifically monocolored decks more than 5-color decks? This doesn't feel cool. I don't like that it cares about the card's colors. And then it also, fucking 10 counters is more than... is probably... This will be relevant in limited, I guess, the 10 counters. But you're asking someone to cast, like, probably on average 7 spells. Unless they're, like, a dedicated multicolored deck. And then it's probably, like, 4 or 5. But yeah, the ability to just flicker this and... Yeah, because you can also flicker this with like, a bunch of stuff. Or just create token copies of it with the Enchantress deck that likes to do that. This is just... Yeah, this is just a 2-mana O-Ring. And I don't fuck with that. A little bit powerful, in my opinion. When it enters, amass soldiers 3, and then you can make the soldiers bigger. Fine. Dunessa Merchant. Whenever Dunessa enters, tap up to X target creatures, where X is the number of satrapies you control. Lovely. And it has satrapy cycling. This is fine. I mean, I don't really care. It's probably not going to be playable. It's 4 mana. And it just taps stuff down. Target creature gains flying and double strike until end of turn. Yeah. I mean, this will be relevant in a deck where... I mean, flying and double strike is a fucking nasty combo. I feel like this is a top end. You go like... Rampant Growth, Flample, double strike. And then it's like, well, shit. If you have that on like a prowess creature... This has the potential to be gross, for sure. Especially in like... Oxfox decks. But maybe I'm overreacting. When Garrison enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, and you can surpass it to make it, yeah, a big flyer. Sure. Hooded Mystic. Other angels and Nephilim you control get +1/+0. Okay, until end of turn, Hooded Mystic becomes an angel and gets +3/+3 and gains flying. It says other. This is interesting if, you know, angels and Nephilims are, like, good. Yeah, I mean, this gets played. If angels and Nephilim are good, this is good. As in the tribal deck. Or sorry, typal deck. Oh my god, I'm gonna get canceled. No, I'm not. When settling of Kane enters, make 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. If you control fewer creatures than an opponent, then you gain 4 life if you have less life than an opponent. Okay, so this is trying to do the Sunset Revelry, but on a battle. Okay, I don't think it's gonna... I think this card's bad. I think this card is straight up bad. You could do this for a 2 mana. I guess you get to make a big you get to make a big army, but you know, I don't think it really fits being a battle, personally. Standoff. Prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by non-army creatures, and then you get to make a 2/2 that can block. Wow. I mean, it's good that it's an uncommon for limited, but it's not anything. It's fine. Zagos Rock. When it enters, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. This card is crazy and limited, but it's kind of a nothing burger. And not. It's fine. It's so chill. Angel of Wisdom. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, you may choose one, draw a card, discard a card. Angel of Wisdom phases out. I mean, it's a 5-mana thing. It's not going to do anything. It doesn't have any... I mean, it does have its protection, but it's like... I mean, this isn't. Yeah, this doesn't. This doesn't do what you want for 5 mana in Constructed. Consult the Cosmos, Satchel Recycling. This card was nasty when I played it. I mean, it's just instant speed. It's really good. It has Satrapy Cycling if you're a Satrapy deck. Really gross in sort of like the field test environment, but it's hard to say whether or not this will be good in Constructed. Like proper Constructed, because also Satrapies were like the best mana base in like the pool that it was in, if I remember correctly. So this is just sort of like, if you can pay 5 mana for this, it's also like it's just good. Crisis in Danage. When Crisis in Danage enters, return target creature an opponent controls to its owner's hand, and you can make it 2/2 if you swing at it. This is fine. This is cool. Playable too. Martube's Forerunner. Wow. Flash. Nephilim and Angels have Flash. Okay. Nephilim Wisdomancer. I'm sorry, I can't take Wisdomancer funny. That's fucking hilarious. Wisdomancer. What does that mean? Because like I understand what a Pyromancer is. You're controlling Pyrom. Are you controlling Wisdom? Are you like what the fuck is a Wisdomancer? Look into the future and all will become clear. Chaos always settles in the past. And is a Wisdomancer just like a fortune teller? Like a Oh, I should not be so mean, but like the flavor has been on point in this set. Let me make this clear. The flavor in this set has been fire, has been great. You've been consistent with your art style. I just find the Wisdomancer to be the funniest thing ever. I don't know. It's kind of funny. When it enters, you may mill 3, and then you may pay Orzhov and return an online card from your graveyard to your hand. I mean, that's fine. That's whatever. It's not playable in Constructed. Nezev Rising. When it enters, return an instant associate from your graveyard to your hand. And then you can make a 4/4 if you hit it enough. Wow. Interesting. Petty Theft. Petty Thief. My bad. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Petty Thief. Okay, Flash. It has Flash. You can transform it. Can't be blocked by creatures with odd mana cost. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Master Assassin. You may have it face out. Sure, this card is cool. Maybe something in a Flash deck. Yeah, this is Brineborn Cutthroat, but like a little bit better. I fuck with this card. Can't be blocked by creatures with odd mana cost is kind of a weird It's kind of like a weird thing though. Prepare for war. At the beginning of each end step, if you've cast a non-creature spell this turn, amass soldiers 1. Sure. Interesting. Sure. Scholar's Delight. Search your library for an instant card or reveal a card with an instant card or a card with Flash. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. This is 4 mana. I know that it's an instant, but also like, yeah, unless you're finding like an instant speed board wipe, I don't see. I mean, you hold this up at your opponent's end step, you go bang, go grab something. It's fine. This is a commander card for sure. Commander players will love this, but yeah. When it enters, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a non-creature among them in your hand, but the rest from the bottom of your library in any order. So, I mean, yeah, you could use this in a deck as an impulse at sorcery speed, and then hit it and make a guy. Sure. So many effects just like in constructed purposes, just do a thing kind of poorly and then make a guy sometimes. And it means I don't think a lot of those effects are good. I think that, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like I need to make guys that much. I mean, yeah, sorry. Pause. Lion Eye. Sacrifice this creature, counter target instant or sorcery spell unless it's control based X, where X is this creature's power, and this is a merfolk? Okay, I kind of fuck with Tidebender. Good lord. Wade through treasures. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put 1 into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. You can flash it back. Sure. As Andazir's Disdain. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. You gain 2 life. Amass soldiers 1. Sure. I mean, you're always removing something, and if you're really low on life, you might gain 2 life. You're probably making a 1/1. Black Feather Cleric. When it enters or attacks, exile target card from your graveyard, put a counter on it. If it was a permanent card, otherwise you gain life, and then it can surpass into a big owl flying. Whenever it attacks, exile 2 cards from graveyards. For each permanent exile this way, put a counter on it. For each opponent loses 1 life, and you gave 1 life. Interesting. Chaos Bender. I don't think this card's gonna see anything because you have to swing with it for like a couple turns to get it where you want it. Because on turn 3 you swing, it costs 5. Then on turn 4 you swing, it costs 4, and then you put all of your things into flipping it, all of your mana into flipping it. And that's assuming you have a fetch land mana base and just can exile that. But yeah. Chaos Bender. This spell costs 2 less to cast if you cast a blue non-creature spell this turn. The same as blue for red non-creature spell. So this can cost 1 mana. Wait, yeah, this can cost 1 mana. You go, wait, no, this card is deeply fucked. Yeah. Yeah, no, this card is messed up. I think, because the way that it's worded, it definitely can cost 4 less. So I go, oh my god, if I have a hybrid red-blue thing, I just play this as a 5/5? Oh my god, this card is so broken. This is not okay. Yeah, because this should just say, this spell costs 2 less to cast if you cast a red or blue non-creature spell this turn. If I cast a hybrid red-blue card, that's 1 mana, and then I slam this for a 1 mana 5/5 menace. No, this card is not okay. This card is absolutely... I don't understand how we missed this. This card is broken. This card is insane. Yeah, we completely missed this in field test. This is not okay. This card is not cool. I don't know how the hell we missed that. This card will get nerfed for sure if this set gets in. I don't see any way around it. This is some insane BS that you can just go like, oh, yeah, Keylong Gust, 5/5 menace. What are you gonna do, opponent? Crisis and Kinect. When Crisis and Kinect enter, destroy target creature or planeswalker, and then you can make a 3/3 army, but it's sorcery speed, so it's fine. Most of these battles are bad because the more you amass, the more you have like amass. I feel like the less good amass gets. Amass feels like it's such a weird mechanic where it's like sometimes you just want more bodies, and sometimes amass cannot do that for you. And the more you put into an amass token, the more likely it is to get just exploded. So I always feel weird about amass, but I do understand its purpose in this set. It's interesting. I mean, it's fine, but I don't know. I'm not personally a fan of amass. But I also didn't play the Lord of the Rings set, so maybe I missed out. I only played War of the Spark. Denage Rising. When it enters, target player reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. The player discards a card, you lose 1 life. Okay. So this one's actually at sorcery speed. You play this. I mean, it's a 2 mana Thoughtseize that can make a guy again, which is, what we have come to expect. Duty-bound Ghoul. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, if it's your turn, each opponent discards a card. Otherwise, each opponent loses 2 life. It's fine. Deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life, where X is the number of satrapies you control. This one is concerning. This is an instant murder if you have all satrapies, which in constructed you will. So on turn 3, this is 3 damage to target creature, gain 3 life, and has satrapy cycling. Not cool. This card is going to be broken in any deck that wants to play it. Kingpin Nezev. Kingdom Nezev enters, make 2 1/1s. You can sack a creature. I mean, this card goes hard in Commander, but it's 4 mana. I don't think it sees any play outside of that Commander. It could. It's pretty efficient. You get like 6 power of creatures for 4 mana, and then can just surveil and get value out of, like, I mean, it's a free sack outlet too. This card goes crazy hard in Commander though. Oracle of the Unseen. Menace. At the beginning of your end step, if a player lost 3 more life this turn, but a +1/+1 encounter on target Azra or demon you control. Okay, this is fine. This is cool. Yeah, this could be something in like the like black red burn deck, but yeah, I don't know. Settling of Nezev. Oh, excuse me. When it enters, look at the top 4 cards of an opponent libraries, exile 2 of them, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. For as long as they remain exiled, you may play those cards and then pay mana for as the okay. This card is so fine. I am so medium on this card. It deals 3 damage to any target and you gain 3 life, but it's a lightning heal exclusively from the graveyard. I mean, I guess. There are a lot of decks though that will just discard this and then pull it back. Or I mean, there's a lot of good like discard stuff in burn. Like, you can be doing that. You can be like a Distant Thunder type burn deck, and then you can have a graveyard lightning helix, because you're not really gonna pay this for 4 in constructed. But yeah, this is potentially good, potentially a little concerning, but probably fine. Traverse the dredge decks. The dredge decks will love this card because you just get to have value from your graveyard. Sack a creature, gain 1 life, draw a card. Fine. Pay 3 life. This is just like a commander card. Let's be honest. Advocate. Well, it's a commander unlimited card. It's just so fine. Sacrifice a creature until end of turn. It gets big, and then it becomes a demon. Noticeably uncapped. So you swing. Your opponent. I don't block. I sack 12 things. Oh, okay, I die. So this is something you have to block every time, which is lovely. Ambitious Truthseeker, Lionize, Menace. When this creature deals damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. Could be something if you have a big-ass creature. Probably not, though. Crisis and Nezev. When Crisis and Nezev enters, exile the top 3. This is like... Never mind. Enters, exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. So it's a triple impulse. And then you can make a big guy eventually by hitting this enough. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Djinn of the Twisted Wish. When Djinn of the Twisted Wish enters, it deals 5 damage to up to 1 target creature or battle. Baller limited card. Completely fine. Firebolt. Firebolt is strong, but we already know that. And I don't think it... I'm fine with it being in the format. I think it's fine. Connect Rising. Connect enters if you cast it. Exile target creature you control. Return to the battlefield under... Why is red flickering? Hold. I don't think red gets to do this. Respectfully. Yeah, you don't just get to exile return because that drops like a bunch of auras and stuff. So, enters. If you cast it, exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Get a token that's a copy of it. Those creatures gain haste until end of turn. Sacrifice the token. Yeah, I mean, this feels like a break to me. I don't think red gets to do this. Let me know in the comment section below if you think I'm wrong. But, yeah. Manifold Manipulator. First strike has lifelink as long as you control a white permanent. Same is true. So, this is fine. Pagan Firebend Binder. Hey. It gets +1/+0 for each satrapy you control. Wow. Bad and limited. Bonkers and constructed. Because you're going to play this on, like, turn 2, and it'll be a 2/3, and then every turn you're going to get a satrapy, and then it'll be, like, yeah, this is like, well, satrapies weren't really a deck, but we have made them a deck by making this a thing. And my problem with satrapies is not satrapy-type batters. That's fine. I think this one's going a little too far. Because in Constructed, you're just going to be... It's going to be equal to the number of lands you control. Don't see why it needs to have 3 toughness. Personally. Whatever. This card is a red flag for me. Not really a fan. Rostahad's Swift Spear. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 encounter on it if you cast a non-creature spell this turn. I played this card a little bit in field test. It was okay. It's not gonna be something in. It's not gonna be something in most decks because, I mean, unless you're playing like instant speed burn a lot, you're probably just gonna rather have like a prowess creature. Although putting a counter on it is not irrelevant. It's just, I mean, this could be something. I don't think it is going to be, though. Refracting Image. Create a token that's a copy of target creature, except it has haste at the beginning of your end step. Sacrifice this permanent. This is cool. This is how red is only allowed to flicker. I don't like, it should not flicker like this. I do not think it should flicker like this. This is not. I know you're giving it haste, but I think this is a bend. This has been too far. Red getting to drop auras off of itself is not cool, especially with how many auras are in the set. Refracting Image, sure. Settling of Oz. Why? What did I do? Bro, my computer hates me. I know what my computer's voting for. No. Are we done? Thank you. Make 2 1/1s. I played this in field test. It's a sorcery speed. Make 2 guys and then make a 3rd guy sometimes if you swing at it. And then sometimes in a token deck, that's pretty good. So solidly fine card here. The Pillaging of Kaneh. Bro, this sounds like it should be a battle. Everything, like, yeah. But no, this one's a sorcery. Deals X damage to each creature in each planeswalker, where X is the number of satrapies you control. Wow. It does not have satrapy cycling. I don't think it's going to be playable. Accept Into the Fold. Whenever a land you control enters, amass Soldiers 1. If that land is a satrapy, amass Soldiers 2 instead. That seems really bad for 4 mana. I'm not going to lie. Convicted Strike. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller or to a battle that player controls instead. Okay. Crisis in a Vase. When Crisis in a Vase enters, search your library for a basic land or satrapy card, and then put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. I don't think this is going to be anything. I don't understand what about getting a land is a crisis either. But, I don't know. Dune Sea Ranger. 2 mana dork. You can spend this mana only to cast an Ezra Demon, and that spell can't be countered. Probably nothing. Unless Azras and Demons become like a deck and you really want to not get countered. I doubt it, though. Destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent. Interesting. Sure, that's fine. Gather the forces. At the beginning of your end step, amass 1. That's 3 mana? Okay. Heartweaver. Whenever you attack, you may pay Boros. If you do, create a token that's a copy of target attacking creature that's tapped and attacking. Sacrifice the token at the beginning of the next end step. Yeah. Yeah. So you make a token that's a copy of it. Sure. Quake Devourer, Lionize, Trample. When this creature deals damage to a non-creature permanent, draw a card. Not going to see any play because we'll see if battles are relevant, but probably not. Quick Step Ranger. Beginning of each end step, put a +1/+1 counter on Quick Step Ranger for each +1/+1 counter on creatures. Excuse me. For each counter you've put on creatures under your control this turn. And then you double up counters. Crazy. Settling of Danage. I don't understand why settling these places are battles. It seems like they're getting settled, which is different. Something in Danage, and just put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Okay. Sure. Whenever a caravan attacks, creatures you control with +1/+1 get +1/+1 until end of turn. If you control 3 or more satrapies, creature control can be blocked. I don't think this will be relevant. If it is, it's because it has satrapy cycling. I don't think it'll be relevant. It's it's fine and limited. It's kind of bad. Soli Rising. When Soli enters, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card in your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I mean, sure. It's nothing special. Okay. 4/4 life. Yeah, this is an uncommon for sure. Adrift into endless stories. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player or non-creature permanent, draw a card. If it had a counter on it, otherwise put a +1/+1 counter on it. That's a fine enchantment. It can potentially draw you a lot of cards. Real good in Commander. Who would have guessed? Angel of Despair, 5/5 flyer, enters, destroy target permanent. Sure. Yeah. Maybe this is like, because I know there's one that does this when it enters and leaves. This maybe could be like a niche sideboard thing for like a reanimator deck, but it is 7 mana. Menace. When it attacks, you may sacrifice a non-land permanent. If you do, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. It's too big, I think, to be played. Amass Soldiers X, where X is the number of counters and permanents you control. I mean, I'm thinking about this with like Dark Depths. This has the potential to be really stupid if you just have something that like has a ton of counters on it for no reason. Hold on. I am remembering a thing that exists. It's that damn fucking idol that has all of the... We'll just... what is it called? MSCM Instigator. Mana value 2 type artifact Oracle counter. Oracle first. Candid Simulacrum. It will enter with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 counters on it. And then you play Coagulation Strength, and you get a 10/10. So that's kind of funny. Potentially silly with, other things that work with Candid Simulacrum. You can just also find a bunch of other things with a bunch of counters on them, but it is something. Descent of the Div. You may cast target card in an opponent's graveyard without paying its mana cost. That's pretty funny. I don't think it'll see play, but it is funny, and I'm sure there will be Commander people who love this. Div's Onslaught. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player or non-creature permanent, you may exile one of them, then return that to the battlefield under your control. Okay, you flicker stuff. When a non-creature you control enters, if you didn't cast it, make a horror. Yeah, Commander card for sure. Jin of... I mean, it's not obvious. It's obviously just like a limited card too. When I say Commander card, I'm thinking just constructed. Okay, so let me... Sacrifice a creature, create a treasure token. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. This is a very solid limited card. Probably not playable in constructed. Jin of Unfolding Trove. You can lionize this for... yeah, that much mana. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may... to a player or non-creature permanent, return target non-creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Sure. Okay. Not really going to be relevant, I don't think. Dune Sea Dreadstalker. Whenever Dune Sea Dreadstalker or another non-token creature you control dies, amass soldiers 1. Yeah. Sure. Wait. Non-token creature. Damn, I thought this went infinite with the sack outlet. Echo of the Simmer. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, you may sacrifice a creature when you do copy it. That's cool. Okay, I fuck with Echo of the Simmer. Guardians of Kalian's Tomb. Make a treasure token. You can pay Wooburg. Until end of turn, it becomes a 5/5. This creature is attacked if any player sacrifices a permanent unless they have you draw 2 cards. This is cool. You're making a treasure immediately. Pretty awesome. Other Angel and Nephilim get 1/1. As long as you control 3 or more Angel and Nephilim, it gets +1/+1 and has flying. That's fun and cool and pretty simple if you are in that kind of deck. Herald of Tamak. Other Azras and Demons get +1. It gets +1/+1 and has fly. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing. But sure. On Andazir's Whims. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, then create a token that's a copy of it, except it has haste. Sure. This is cool. This is like... I mean, if you get this and like... the fucking mana value 7 dragon. Type dragon. Yeah, if you get double Azos, that's kind of fucked up. Yeah, that's kind of scary. But it is 5 mana. I think it's cool though. It's certainly cool. Ruthless, but whatever. This girly. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, return it from your graveyard to your hand. Sure. Selection at Danage. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may put a number of charge counters on Selection at Danage equal to that spell's mana value. At the beginning of your end step, you may remove 4 charge counters from it and look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may put 1 into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Cool, you get an impulse. For, a lot of mana value. Spawn of Haddock, Flying Haste. When it attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. Maybe, probably not. It's a big flyer. It's cool. Valiant Cathaparch. Whenever one or more counters are to be put on a creature you control, put that many +1. Put that many +1 of each of those kinds of counters that are put on that creature instead. Okay. Zagos Abomination. Whenever Zagos Abomination attacks, exile another target creature you control, then return to the battlefield under your control, tapped and attacking. It gains menace until end of turn. Okay, I mean, this is fine because it's white, and white flickers. Yeah, I kind of fuck with this. This card is actually super cool. I don't think it's constructed playable, but it's like a really cool design. I fuck with it a lot. I already talked about these goddamn fortresses. You know how I feel. You clicked on this video for my opinion. There are mythics. Okay. Chained to the rock. That's a funny. Enchant creature with flying you control. When chained to the rock enters, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until chained to the rock. This is a really stupid pun. Congratulations. It's kind of funny. I don't know why we're on the beach though now. I guess the clothing is consistent and but yeah, I assumed it was all kind of a desert. Consult the lineage. At the beginning of your end step, return target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that share a creature type. Oh, you get to do this constantly. So this is, oh my god, this is good. This card is very strong. Dawn over Soli. When enters or is defeated, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put one creature card with mana value 2 or less from among them on the battlefield. The rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. You really do want to defeat this, because what you're getting is you're getting two drops and then a 3/3, and that's pretty decent for 3 mana. Harsh Saphead. When an opponent activates an ability that isn't a mana ability, amass soldiers 1 unless they pay 2. This can be properly annoying, because that thing will just grow. And this is like 3 power for 2 mana still, which is decent. But it's also, easily paying. It's fine. It's a weird hate bear, but it's cool. Whenever you gain life, put a counter on it. If it isn't, yeah, I mean, this is a what's it called? An Ajani's Pride mate that gains flying. This will be playable in life gain decks. Oh my god, I didn't read that second ability. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. It stopped getting counters though when it transforms, which is like kind of bad. So you have to do it when you're like actually going to go in for the kill. Rhythm of Soli. I don't know why I decided to do it with a deep voice now, but this is what we're sticking with. Rhythm of Soli. When it enters, choose Aeth or Karoba. Okay, creatures you control have lifelink. Creatures you control enter with an additional +1/+1 counter on them. We have persist cards in the format. This can combo with those, but that's fine. And given your board lifelink is something. This card is so fun. It's 4 mana. It's not a problem. Lionize, giving a thing flying, and giving it an anthem effect. This card's kind of good. Kind of goated, actually. I don't know what kind of deck would want to play it, because it's sort of like a more, like... yeah, this card is good. This card's good and interesting. When Soli Arab... or another angel or Netflin enters, amass soldiers 2. If it was an angel, amass soldiers 4 instead. Uh-oh! Typo! Set discarded. There is a typo, because it's amass soldiers 2 in the cost instead of amass soldiers 2, the number. The digit, if you will. Wretched Skulker. Whenever a non-token creature you control enters, if it wasn't cast, put a +1/+1 counter on Wretched Skulker. You can sacrifice it and exile target non-land permanent with mana value less than Wretched Skulker's power. This is interesting in a Flicker deck. That's all I gotta say. Whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Acolyte of Water. This can be good if you draw a lot of cards. Wow, Nathan. Who would have said? This is a big off flying creature. You can remove 2 counters from it to protect it. This could be something. It's probably a lot more in Commander. This kind of goes hard in Commander, if I do say so myself. Dawn over Nazev. Whenever it enters, draw 3 cards. Whenever it is defeated, you may exile it if you do cast a spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. It is 6 counters. Let's see something. I think you defeat it when it has no counters on it. Oracle. Counters. Remove all counters. Let's see. I mean, we've got Aether Snap. This only hits creatures. There's Harriet Liberated Wildborn. You can sacrifice a permanent, which is a land, and then, you know, get a free cast a spell from your hand by removing things. I've never seen this card before, but maybe it'll be something. Makeup Call is something that could be something too. I mean, yeah, there's like a few ways. Yeah. Yeah, there's a few ways to do this. Who would have guessed? But this card is a little bit scary, but it's also 5 mana, so it's probably fine. But it also does draw 3 cards. I don't know. Empyrean Scholar. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may tap any number of untapped angels or Nephilim you control. It costs 1 less to cast. For each creature tapped this way, it is a flying in vigilance. When it enters, each creature tapped to pay it becomes a 4/4, and they stay 4/4s. Okay, so you can pay like 2 mana, tap 5 guys if you have 5 guys. They all become 4/4 flyers, and you get a 6. I mean, this has the potential to be completely fucking insane. But it's also probably not going to be, because those are like weird bad creature types. Although I will say, if you tap Polyp Pools to cast this, it will become a 4/4 angel with flying and vigilance, but still be a land, I think. Which is funny. Gain control of target creature if its power is less than or equal to the number of counters on creatures you control. In the right deck, this is pretty good, because it lasts indefinitely. Why did you go away? Raw. Alright, we're done with the stupid voice. I'm sorry you had to endure through that. I was getting bored. That's all. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw that many cards. Lionize is fine. Cool. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each angel or Nephilim you control. Draw X cards. Yeah, I mean, if angel and Nephilim become a deck, this is certainly there. If you are in blue and play at instant speed and have 3 blue pips. But you're playing Satrapies, so it doesn't matter. Rhythm of Nizev. As Rhythm of Nizev enters, choose Farib or Rahast, whatever. Choose one of the modes. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, you draw a card. Creatures you control have prowess. Multiple instances of prowess stack. Fine. I don't think this will see play. Azra Wizard. Flash. When it enters until end of turn, if a creature would enter the battlefield, instead exile that creature, and that creature's controller amasses X soldiers or X's that creature's mana value. What a weird counterspell. But that's not a counterspell. It's like, oh, you're about to play a 6/6, or you're about to bring back a, what's it called? You're gonna reanimate Azos. Guess what? Get a 7/7 instead. Very weird card, but it's kind of funny. Streetwise Spellkeeper. At the beginning or ends up, if you cast a non-creature spell this turn, put a +1 counter on Streetwise Spellseeker. Then, if its power is 5 or greater, create a 4/4 angel. Very cool. Back alley convention. Satrapies you control have that, and it has Satrapy cycling. Whatever. It's fine. Dawn over Kane. When Dawn over Kane enters, you may return any number of creature cards in your graveyard with a total mana value X or less to the battlefield. They become armies in addition to their other types. Sure. Desolate Advance. You may draw a card and lose 1 life. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, you may pay 1 life. If you do, return Desolate Advance from your graveyard to your hand. It's 2 mana. I think it's bad. I think this card's bad. Jahi of Endless Hunger. Lion Eyes. Flying. Sack a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature and tap it. Any player may activate this ability. This is a weird card to lionize, but I guess it's fine, although weird. If you want to like sack a bunch of stuff, put a bunch of counters on something, and then I guess you would want to do it with one of your like, what the fuck is it? Where one of your surpass baddies, you just put a bunch of counters on it and then surpass it. Mahir's Unending Horde. If you would create an army token while Mahir's Unending Horde is in your graveyard, you may instead return Mahir's Unending Horde from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay. Sure. Mahir's Unending Horde. Excuse me. Reckoner of Kaneh. Flying lifelink with Lionize, it's good. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, remove all counters from target permanent they control or protect. Oh, hey, here it is in this set, too. I just do that with that one battle. Rhythm of Kaneh. When it enters, choose choose one of the two. Whenever a creature you control attacks, defending player discards a card. Oh, it's kind of unfun, but whenever a non-token creature you control dies, amass Soldier's X, where X is that creature's power. Sure, I don't think it'll see. I mean, okay, maybe. I don't think it'll see play. Triumphant Greed. Destroy target creature or planeswalker you don't control. Its controller creates treasure tokens. This is a solid sideboard card. Yeah. Vagabond of the Doom. When it enters, each opponent discards a card. Whenever an opponent discards a card, put a +1/+1 on Vagabond of the Dunes. Oh my goodness. 8-rack guy. Each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by the number of counters on it. Whenever an opponent discards a card, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Wow. Your maximum hand size is 0 now. Archfiend of Range. I mean, this one's fine. I think it sees plays in some decks that want it and do a lot of discarding. Archfiend of Rage. Once each turn, you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand. You may copy it and choose new targets. 5 mana. Fine. Flying Haste. Big ass. 8 mana thing. When it attacks, create a 4/4 angel creature token with flying. This is the first time it has attacked this turn. Untap all creatures you control. After... Okay, this is kind of... with flying, if it's the first time it has attacked this turn, untap all creatures you control. This is a fucked up reanimation target. Because you're like, I pay my reanimate spell, bring this guy back. It has like vanishing or whatever, but I swing and make 12 power among 4 angels. I don't think it's better than like Azos or something, but it's certainly scary and a consideration. This is a board wipe that is also can make a 3/3. Sure. Furious Blow. Furious Blow deals 4 damage to any target for 3 mana. Okay. Well, Furious Blow, exile it from your graveyard. Search your library for an Amaret Planeswalker card named The Lost and Seeking. Reveal it and put it into your hand. Wow. Sure, I guess. If we're playing Amaret, we'll play this. Huma of Glory. Flying Haste. Whenever a battle you control is defeated, you may turn Huma of Glory from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's cool. Yeah, sure. Jal's Spawn. Double Strike Lionize. This art's kind of ugly. Why are we in a forest? I thought we were in a desert. Last Priest of Hadak. When it attacks, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Whenever you discard a card, you may exile that card from your graveyard. During your turn, you dealt damage to a player with a dragon or shaman. Sure. This is... I don't think this will see play. I don't think dragon or shaman is like going to be super relevant. At least not with this thing. Yeah. Rhythm of Avaz. Rhythm of Avaz enters. Choose one of the options. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Okay. And then creatures you control have menace, haste, and attack each combat if able. Both of these feel bad for 3 mana. I feel like this card could be 2 mana. Hot take. Menace is significant, but it's also like... Yeah, this one feels weak. Slinking Raider. Slinking Raider can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Slinking Raider deals damage to a non-creature permanent. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. Can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. So it can only be traded with a 1/1 or a 1/2 could block it. I guess. I mean, this is weird and interesting. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each planeswalker. Okay. I mean, whatever. I don't think this card is playable. I'm not gonna lie. Denaj Sightseer. Denaj Sightseer gains lifelink if white was spent activated. Flying in blue, medicine. Okay. Beginning of your end step, if you have spent Wooburg to cast spells on her activated abilities this turn, put 3 +1/+1 counters on it. This could be interesting. Yeah, this is cool. Dawn over Denaj. When Dawn over Denaj enters or is defeated, draw cards equipped with the greatest power among creatures you control. Sure. Dreaded of Sahara. Sarah? I guess. Trample. When it enters, creatures you control become 8/8 demons in addition to their other types until end of turn. Sure. Sure, that's fine. Excuse me. Herald of Ruination. Put a counter. Whenever you put a counter on another permanent you control, put a +1/+1 counter on Herald of Ruination. This triggered ability only triggers once each turn. In the beginning of your turn, if Herald of Ruination needs flying until end of turn, if a creature you control in your graveyard has flying. The same is true for first strike, double strike. Okay. Cool. This is kind of, I don't think this is going to be good. I don't think, maybe there's like a deck, if this is good, you're putting one counter on one creature each turn, and then you get this like big demon, potentially. Inspiring Tactician. When it or another permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability you don't control, amass 1. That's pretty good for a 3/2. It means you get some value if your things get targeted. Especially if your army gets targeted, you get another army. Well, not another army. You put another counter on that army, which doesn't do anything if it's going to get killed. The Mass Soldier's Axe, you gain life equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Okay. Maybe it's a little overcosted. I don't know. Rhythm of Dejank enters. Choose Martyr or Martub or Tamak. Martub. At the beginning of your end step, return non-land card at random from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, draw cards equal to its power. This is 5 mana. I mean, it's cool in Commander, but like... Spawn of Andazir. Enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. Lionize. When this creature kills damage to a player or a non-creature permanent, double the number of +1/+1 counters on it. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, it's probably not insane. I think it's fine. Return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. If you can't, gain 2 life. Repeat this process for battled creature, enchantment, land, and planeswalker. Put it on the bottom of its owner's library. Yeah, we've seen these decks before. I don't think they're ever really constructed playable. You just get a lot of value out of it. It's maybe good in like Commander, but... A Matricide Most Foul. The art looks kind of weird here. When it enters or is defeated, each opponent exiles a permanent they control with the highest mana value among non-land permanents they control. Okay. Fine. That's cool. We still got a lot of rares because you have a lot of multicolored cards. But it's fine. Abaz and Mermaid Girl and Wizard Man. Whenever you cast your first non-creature spell each turn, you may cast a creature spell that costs less than that non-creature spell from your hand without paying attack cost. Whenever you attack with your more creatures, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. Okay, that's fun. That's a fun commander. Command. Oh god, all these commands. Exile target creature with the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield. Target player looks at the top 4 cards of their library. They put 1 under their hand, then exile the rest. Exile up to 4 target cards from opponent graveyards until the end of your next turn. Target player may play cards exiled by Endazir's Command. Um, this is so okay. This is fine. Weird. Yeah, this is just yeah. This card is good. Aleth's Command. Put 2 counters on target creature. It deals damage equal to any target equal to the number of creatures you control. You gain life equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Then discard 3 cards. Alright, seems reasonable. Atith's Disciple. It gains Flying Vigilance or Lifelink until end of turn. Whenever an angel you control enters, put a counter on it. Okay, and then it flips into Big Angel. Cool. Azra Warshaper. Whenever you cast an Azra spell, mill 3 cards. Whenever you cast a demon spell, you may return an Azra spell with mana value less than that spell from your graveyard to the battlefield. This will certainly be something if Azras and demons are a thing. I don't think it will otherwise. Flying, put a counter on it. It gains indestructible and then at end of turn, tap it. Cool. And then it transforms into a bigger version of that. Cosmic Banishment. Return each card with cycling from your graveyard to your hand. You may cast any number of non-land cards with total mana value X or less from your hand without paying their mana costs, where X is the number of satrapies you control. Very interesting. Very... I don't know. This card feels kind of like... very specific deck wants it, and it's a commander cycling deck. Krazakun's Command. Get additional combat. Creatures you control gain indestructible. Creatures you control gain lifelink. Creatures you control get big. That's fine. Dali, Eyes of Danaj. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, you may exile target card that shares a type with it from your graveyard until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. That's pretty cool. Disappointment is a incarnation horror. When Disappointment's power and toughness are each equal to the number of differently named lands you control. Okay. When it enters or deals damage to a player or non-creature permanent, you may return target non-land permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It's a land with... Wow. That really was a disappointment. Not really. I mean, this is a cool commander, but it's also like 5 mana and just is a big body with no protection. Div on Unsettling Secrets. Flash. When this enters, exile target permanent or spell. The controller of that spell or permanent draws 2 cards. I mean, this could be something that's flash. It counters spells, but it's also like giving your opponents resources. Scary. Next time a triggered ability of a permanent you control will trigger this turn. That ability triggers an additional time. Search your library for a permanent card with mana value 2 or less. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Create a token that's a copy of a creature you control. Sacrifice a creature. If you do, draw 2 cards. This is fine. Yeah. All these commands are actually kind of cool, but them being sorceries means they're probably not playable, which is sad. Figments of the Muktan. Whenever a creature you control attacks, Figments of the Muktan, create a token that's a copy of that creature tapped and attacking the player protecting it. Sacrifice a token at the beginning of the next end step. Interesting. That's cool. So you can actually defeat it and like get benefits from it because you have another one attacking someone else. From the Sky's Piece, exile any number of target attacking creatures you control. For each creature exiled this way, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 angel with flying in addition to its other types. I mean, that's cool. That's a really cool instant. You just flicker your whole board and make them all angels. That's very strong. Trample Haste. When Herald of Untold Riches gets +1/+1 for each color among other spells you've cast this turn. Um, very cool. Okay. Um, Intepitude. When it enters, you may untap and gain control of target creature until end of turn. Put 3 stun counters on it, and that creature gains +3/+3 and gains haste until end of turn. Weird. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You want to swing with it, then it'll have stun counters on it. Iridescent Savior. Okay. Flying lifelink. Whenever another creature you control attacks until end of turn, that creature is +2/+0 if it's red. Okay. Gains lifelink if it's white and flying if it's blue. Interesting. Pay X life, then return target creature card with mana value Hex or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Activate only as a sorcery only once each turn. Pay 3 life. Return Mayor's Last Captain from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter. Nazar Dunessa Merchant. If another creature with a +1/+1 counter on it you control would die, instead remove a counter from it. If you do so, it phases it out. Scary commander card. Because now all your stuff just has protection. But it doesn't have protection itself. You can just eat it. Obstinate Wish Granter. Flying. Whenever you cast a player casts. Yep. Typo. Like your spell. Make control of it and target creature. Then the spell's controller may choose new targets. Interesting. The beginning of combat on your turn, amass soldiers 1. Armies you control have flying and lifelink. I mean, that's fair. Yeah, this is so fine. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand or a non-token creature you control, put 1 into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Okay. Sure. Predatory Tombstalker. Cards in graveyards lose all names, types, and abilities. So this stops reanimation because return target creature card. No types. Spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause you to sacrifice manticores. Sedge Tyrant of Neved. This is weird because what if they exempt you and you have something that's not a Minotaur? Do you just have to cycle the other one? Or bin the other one? Seems weird. Whenever an opponent's life total is less than or equal to the number of cards you own in exile, and in your... What? Life total is less than or equal to the total number of... you own in exile, the number of cards that player loses the game. I'm not tracking, but that's fine. Sara's Harbinger. When it enters, reveal the top 6 cards of your library. An opponent separates them into 2 piles. That opponent chooses one of those piles and puts it into their hand. You may cast any number of non-land cards in the other pile without paying their mana cost. Okay, that's chill. Shide Avaz's Conqueror. Whenever an opponent casts a spell during your turn, or an opponent casts a spell that targets a creature you control, amass soldiers 1. I feel like we've already seen that card, though, but just slightly different. Swooping Manticore. This spell can't be countered. Flample. Flying lifelink haste. Ward, sacrifice a creature. Yeah, I mean, hello, Siege Rhino. Not really, but kind of. Tamak's Command. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token artifact or enchantment. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token player battle. Return a permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield under your control. Okay, so you can make your opponents sack a bunch of relevant things, and then either that or just sack one thing, and then Return the guy you sacked to the field. Brink of War. Destroy all creatures. Amass soldiers X, where X is the number of creatures destroyed this way. Okay, big time board wipe. Zubin, Spear of Kaneh. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each satrapy you control. Okay, interesting. Vigilance Menace. When Zubin, Spear of Kaneh enters, create 3/1/1. Jesus Christmas. Create 3/1/1 white soldier creature tokens. Then you gain 1 life for each other creature you control. My goodness, I'm falling asleep. It's raining outside. And I feel so eepy. But we're almost done. So we're going to wrap it up. So far, the rares look cool. More on the underpowered side, I think, personally, which is fine. I like playing stuff safe. But there's a handful of cards where I'm like, this is really undertuned. And then there are a handful of cards where I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? This is Broco. This gives me some red flags, but it's probably fine. This has the potential to be insane. Stop! Why? Okay, we're going to go to Mythic. Because apparently y'all can't handle me talking about things. Oh my god. The set's incomplete? What? Hollow Simulacra. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's an angel with flying and no other abilities instead. Angel with flying and no other abilities. Okay, so let me get this straight. When a creature dies, you just get an angel. You get an XX angel where X is its power and Y is its toughness. Except it has that name. Okay, whatever. Whenever a snake wizard, whenever a satrap you control enters, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a spirit. Attack 7 untapped satrapies you control. Exile cards from the top of your library. Until you exile a non-land card, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Cringe. Satrapies are cringe, in my opinion. Acrimony. A lifelink. Remove 2 counters from Acrimony. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. At the beginning of your end step, for each permanent, move a counter from that permanent to Acrimony. I think that card's bad. In Blood Vengeance, choose target creature you control. Exile each creature you control. Then create that many tokens that are copies of each creature so they aren't legendary and gain haste at the beginning of the next end step. Sacrifice those tokens. So, what did I say about red flickers? Not a fan. Although this is I guess cool. But I don't fuck with red flickers. What is this? Colossus of Alkabah. If 1 or more counters would be put on a permanent you control, put 3 times as many counters on it instead. Yeah, well, hey, Commander. Abwad Korra, Failed Sun, Vigilance Trample. The beginning of it gains at the beginning of your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. And then you make X 2/1 black for creature tokens, you gain X life. Sure. This is cool. Yeah. Enzir first to inspire. When it enters, transcend, each opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent. That's annoying. Create 4 snake creature tokens with death touch for it's 6 mana. Never mind. Draw 3 cards, lose 3 life. So fine. Flash. It's a merfolk. When it enters, return target non-creature spell to its owner's hand. Yes, this is what we've been looking for. I love this. Then you can draw 2 cards, and you can gain 2 life and draw a card. You can't ascend at Flash, though, unfortunately. And then each opponent can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. Yeah. Aeth is cool. This card is cool. We fuck with this card. Cyrukan, Heart of Iron. When it enters or transcends, create 2 1/1 soldier creature tokens with haste. Okay, you make 2 1/1s. Creatures you control get big. Creature you control gain Vigilance Lifelink until end of turn. Cool. I don't know what this card does. It's dead. It's gone. Far Reeb, the Ever Scheming. Let me check something real quick. Why? Why did you do that? Why? Hello? Ugh. We're going to see if this is complete in the MSC file. Because if it isn't, I don't think this is justifiable. Oh, I thought this was unarted. Just completely unarted. Which is funny. No, it's just a skull. But yeah. We're in the middle of downloading it. I will post an update when I know. Ward, sack a permanent. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on this guy. And then surpass. Then transforms into all-consuming swords. Counters on the all-consuming swarm become loyalty counters instead. Make a bunch of insects for each permanent type. Sacks a permanent. Okay, this is cool. I like this. Mahara, General of All. Mahara enters. If you cast them, destroy all other creatures. Okay. Make soldiers. Amass more soldiers. Pretty straightforward card. Matub, Flowing Life. Ward X, where X is the number of counters on Matub, Flowing Life. This is a win con in a control deck for sure. It's fine. Where X is the number of counters on it. I already read that. Put a +1 counter on each other creature you control. Double the number of counters on permanents you control. Sure. That's fine. Pariah's Bargain. Sacrifice any number of permanents. If 5 colors were among this... We have 2 Wurberg cards. I guess they're really pushing their luck with the fucking... with Satrapies. Sacrifice any number of permanents if 5 colors were among the sacrificed permanents. Each player exiles the top 5 cards of their library. For each player, you may cast up to 2 cards. They exile this way without paying their mana costs. I mean, that's pretty strong. I mean, you just get 1 citizen, and then bada bing, bada boom, this is online. Rasta B, Band of Truth. Each instant or sorcery you spell costs hybrid less to cast. That can't be how it's worded. Costs red or blue less to cast, or 1 less to cast. That's crazy. But a flying counter and a prowess counter on it. An exile instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. For each card exiled this way, you may copy it, and you may cast a copy without paying its mana cost. Shra, Sahra, Hadok's Warrior. It seems like it's done downloading. Let's see. Does it have the incomplete set? It is not responding. It's just loading all of them in. It's fine. Maybe I need to get the new version of MSE. I don't know what fancy frames they're using, though. My version should be able to handle almost everything in this set. We're just gonna close it. We're gonna try to open this one. Open set. Yeah, my version is 2.0, which might be bad. Anyways, I'm sure they'll see it. I'll bring it up. We gotta get here. It's already 2 hours. This guy's fine. The Acrid Storm at the beginning of your combat enters. Sure, drop the 2 card. This card seems fine. It's just a big ass. It has haste. You have to transcend them too. So to mock the swarm, can only transcend if you've sacrificed a permanent this turn. Create 2 bugs. Destroy each other non-land permanent with mana value X or less. The Lost in Seeking. Legendary creature, human cleric. Whenever a legendary creature you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on the Lost in Seeking. This is good. I can use this. As its permanent transforms into Amaret, counters on it become, at the end of turn, it becomes a big ass angel, and then I can make 3 clerics. I can use this. Get bigger for each legendary creature. Yeah. Yeah, I want this card in the format. Zareen Koroba Saw. When it enters, if you cast her, untap each satrapy you control. For each satrapy you control, whether it becomes tapped for the first time. Why? Why are we doubling up on satrapies? This is free once you get to 5 mana with satrapies. I don't know. Feather of the Simmer. Add 1 mana of any color. Exile Feather of the Simmer. Right. Okay. So, overall, this set is technically incomplete, which means, like, this isn't a card. This is a nothing card. I don't know what this card wants to do or wanted to do. So, that is definitely points against it. Flavor-wise, good. Good, relatively consistent. There's a few things that stand out, but for the most part, consistency I like. I really do like Lionize and Surpass as mechanics, and all of the like listed mechanics. Amass is fine. I don't really care about Amass. Transcend is already good. We know that, but I do not like battles. Encounters are boring. They do the same thing every time, and there's no creativity. Plus, we are not a format that has any like. Your set has like ways to interact with battles meaningfully, but the format kind of doesn't, and that's kind of cringe. I don't think that. I don't know, because a lot of the times battles just play like instants and sorceries, but don't get hit by like specific types of negates. Like don't get hit by, hitting only instants and sorceries. I don't like battles. I think battles were a mistake by Wizards. I think you have a reasonable take on them, but also, I don't know. Battles feel like they do need to transform. Battles feel like they need to have more versatility. The fact that every battle makes an army doesn't really make sense, especially for effects like this. It just kind of seems like, oh, I guess you make an army because that's the type of battle that I have decided to run in this set. And also, I personally hate satrapies. I think that satrapies will ruin the format. Not ruin the format, but I don't think any deck with a satrapy mana base is going to be, like, fair. I think you're going to be able to run things that you should be able to run in a deck that runs way too many colors. It's really sad, because a lot of the fundamentals of this set is really good. Like, most of the cards are balanced. Most of the cards have... There's, like, a handful of standouts that are, like, in my opinion, insanely broken. I gotta go back and find them, but there were a handful of cards that I was really like concerned about. But for the most part, it's not about the individual balance. Most of these cards feel like pretty balanced. It's just that satrapies are not cool. I don't think satrapies are a good idea. I also don't think battles are a good idea, and technically this set's incomplete. You don't have the last transcend thing, and I don't know what that card does, so I can't vote for this set without knowing. But, sorry. I'm trying to remember something that I thought was broken. Oh, Confined to the Oasis is broken. there's a lot of like just satrapy cycling stuff that I think is really powerful. There are a handful of things that are fulfill the contract. I think is broken. I think fulfill the contract is not cool. Not okay at all. Yeah. So there's a handful of cards that are overtuned, but those get tuned down after a little bit. But this set I think is incomplete. It doesn't have. I mean, it just doesn't have one card. I know it's mean to say it's incomplete because the rest of the set feels like really put together. So it feels bad to say that, but also like it is incomplete. It is like there's no way around it. You didn't make this card. You didn't complete a cycle. Um, so I really wish I could feel better about the set, but um, I don't know. Um, anyways, anyways, if you disagree with me on this set, let your voice be known. Go and vote. Go and vote because I'm not the only voice that matters. Your voice matters more. And, I'm saying a lot of insane stuff. I'm probably wrong about a lot of things too. But, yeah, let your voice be heard and remember to vote. But this has been Alkabah, The Rise of Soli, my boy Soli. Yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you next time when we do fucking someone's set. You'll see it in the fucking Discord. I know none of you are just watching this randomly. I will post the Discord in the link though if you are. Alright, bye.